Let me give you an analogy. If I steal your car, do I have the legal authority to drive it? You guys are going to have to wake up for me.
No.
Do I have the legal authority to drive your car if I steal your car?
No.
No. But if I steal your car and I drive around in it all week long, and everybody in the community sees me driving around in that car, they will assume that I have a legal authority, although that legal authority does not exist. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
That's exactly how we operate in America today. We assume that the federal government has an authority that they don't have. It doesn't change it into a legal authority. We just operate as if it is. For example, we call Supreme Court what they do, they issue rulings. The Supreme Court doesn't issue rulings. Kings issue rulings. Courts issue opinions. And when those opinions are not consistent with the supreme law of the land, those opinions are no more binding upon you than your next door neighbor's opinions. And yet we have a Supreme Court today that drives around in a stolen car. We assume they have the authority to decide matters of marriage, of gun ownership, of immigration, enforcement, to be clear, energy, environment, education. All of these things are not federally delegated powers, which means they have no authority over them. And any exercise of that power is stolen. Jefferson said it's void and of no force, just like me driving around in your car. Now, if I've stolen your car and I drive around in your car all week, do you have to sue me to get your car back? No. You simply go to the proper authority. Sorry, You go to the proper authorities, you show the title deed to your vehicle, and the authorities will take that vehicle into their possession and give it back to you. Do the states have to sue the federal government to get their power back?
No.
No. I mean, it's a ridiculous assumption to begin with. The states will be suing the federal government where?
Federal court.
In federal court.
Yeah.
With judges who are appointed by the federal government.
Yes.
What do you think our odds are in coming out victorious in a situation like that? And the important thing is our framers weren't that stupid. The states don't have to sue the federal government. They simply have to show the title deed to their power. And what is the title deed to their power? The Constitution. They do not have to fight the federal government on the federal government's terms because the federal government is a creation of the states and the creator just simply has to get control of its creation. And so we have lots of talk today because people are feeling overwhelmed by the out-of-control nature of the federal government, feeling powerless because we're constantly focused on the federal level, not knowing what to do, not feeling like we can do anything. And so we have lots of this chatter about an armed revolution. Is it time for 1776 again? No, it's not. And as a matter of fact, when you look at the history of our first war for independence, you realize we had two wars for independence from Great Britain, right? We had one in 76, and then the other one's called the War of 1812. From the finish of our first one to the War of 1812, Great Britain never really even recognized our independence. In spite of the Treaty of Paris, they still did not recognize us, so we had to go and kick their butts again. So here we go. What do? Our framers, when you study them, up into the point and even beyond the Declaration of Independence, were praying for reconciliation with Great Britain. Sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Because you see, they did not want civil war. And that's something we ought not want either. We are so far removed from a civil war, we don't know the horror of it anymore. Ask these countries that are engaging in civil war now. We know what foreign war is. You dress up in a uniform and you go fight somebody that you don't know, you'll never see again, and you'll never have to answer to their family. A civil war is standing with your friend, your neighbor, your family member in front of you, and knowing at that moment it's their life or yours. George Washington knew what that was and was the greatest opponent to a war with their own country, until they realized they'd exhausted every single remedy that they had available to them. Can I mention to you that America has not exhausted every single peaceful remedy to control their federal government? Can I also mention to you that we've barely even started? All we do is complain. That's not even a remedy. So what I want you to do is follow with me today as I give you 10 things that we can do today in a peaceful way to restore America to its founding principles. That's you and me. That's not a group of 10,000. That's a group of you, making groups bigger if necessary. Because you see, the bottom line is this: history proves several things. Patrick Henry says, "I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that's the lamp of experience. I know no way of judging the future but by the past." History dictates that if we take up arms against our government today, it will be that young man over there in that seat who will die for our ignorance. Civil wars don't end in a generation, technically. Ours was pretty miraculous, the way it did. And we should be seeking for the most peaceful remedy that we can now, so he does not have to pick up a musket and fight for our negligence. Because that's what it's down to right now, right? Our negligence. Yep. How many of you understand we do not have constitutional rights? There's not a single person in this tent with constitutional rights, or a single person in this country with constitutional rights, because the Constitution grants you nothing. Right. Your rights are not based on the Constitution. The Constitution is based on your rights. Your rights precede the Constitution. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their government with certain unalienable rights. Right? That's not what it says. And endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these, in legal terms, that means we're about to make a list, but it's not the whole list. It's only a small part, an example of the list. Among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. But when any form of government operates and becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right, Jefferson would say later, it's the duty of the people to alter or abolish it.